Ladies and gentlemen, dear audience, dear colleagues, dear friends, welcome to NGMN's annual Press and Industry Briefing at this Mobile World Congress in 2025. My name is Anita Döhler. I'm the CEO of the NGMN Alliance, and I will just lead you a bit at start through what to expect today and our achievements from 2024. We then have a very prominent part of our press and industry briefing this time is the handover from our chairman between 2020 and 2024, Arash, to Laurent. And at the end, we will provide you with a short forecast of what to expect from us in 2025 with regards to the already agreed initiatives. And the second part, the second 30 minutes, as always, will be open for questions from the audience. Quick recap with regards to NGMN, what we are. We are an operator-driven alliance. We reflect the entire value chain in our membership, and we focus on mainly 3 strategic topics since 21. So one is how to master the route to disaggregation, including network automation and the achievement of cloud-native solutions. The second big topic are green future networks, sustainability, including energy efficiency and alike. And the third big topic, as our name suggests, the Next Generation Mobile Networks Alliance, is of course 6G, or how we say beyond 5G as well. That's a recap of the membership. So we have around 70 companies across the entire value chain working together in NGMN. And with regards to the publications of the last year, so this is guidance we provide to the industry. To start with the route to disaggregation. We provided in December 24 some publications which focus on 4 possible operating models identified by NGMN, describing their pros and cons, so for operators to make the right decisions with regards to their decisions for operating models. When it comes to sustainability, there was guidance with regards to metering in virtualized RAN infrastructure and also a roadmap to green future networks. So that's a phased approach, and there are 16 measures grouped into a short, mid, and long term, and also into their impact. With regards to 6G, we of course continuously also provided guidance and will continue to provide guidance. One part was to review the IMT 2030 guidance, where we came up with some suggestions, but in general, the alignment is there. And just also recently, beginning of 25, the project we published, the network evolution guidance. So that was a very recent publication. And of course, I encourage everyone to download and not just to read, but to apply it in practice, what we are doing. The final publication I want to mention here at the Press and Industry Briefing from 24 is guidance with regards to a radio performance assessment framework. We will describe this a bit later also because we will continue that part where we want to provide a clear baseline to the industry, how to assess any performance gains over and above 5G. With this, I would like to close the first, a very short recap of what we achieved in 24. And it is a great pleasure for me to provide Arash a big, big thank you for his leadership to the NGMN Alliance. He is extremely passionate to provide value to the industry. He led the Alliance and the Board of Directors, and also myself as a CEO, through quite turbulent times in the last 4 years. Thank you very much, Arash. And welcome, Laurent Leboucher, our new chairman. Laurent was elected by the board of directors just on this Sunday. And with this, I hand over to Ray Lemestre from TelecomTV for the panel discussion with both of our chairmen. Thank you.
I am Ray Lemaitre. I'm the editorial director at TelecomTV. Delighted to be here today to moderate the Q&A part of, or this panel discussion part of today's proceedings. I'm here with Arash Ashouriha, Senior VP of Group Technology at Deutsche Telekom, who, as Anita noted, has been the chair of the NGMN board for the past 4 years up to now. And Laurent Leboucher, Orange Group CTO and Senior VP of Orange Innovation Networks, who is the new chair of the NGMN board. So, gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for being on stage here today. So we're going to take a look at what's happened and what's coming forward. Arash, let's start with you. I'd like to start with some of the key advances made by the NGMN Alliance during your time as chairman. Let's start with network disaggregation. One of the NGMN's strategic pillars during your tenure has been mastering the route to disaggregation, with operating disaggregated networks, or ODIN, being one of the main topics. Now, this was a focus, a project that was launched as the excitement around Open RAN was building, but which, of course, isn't limited just to developments in the radio access network. What have been the lessons learnt from this particular initiative, and what role has the NGMN played in advancing disaggregation?
I think, first of all, the realization that the softwareization of our network asset is inevitable. So every operator, no matter which geography you are in, no matter which evolution part you are in, you are still in 4G, you're about to launch 5G, or you even have already 5G advanced, you need to softwareize your asset. And as an operator-driven industry alliance, we try always to focus to address something where the majority of the operators will benefit from. And that's commonly addressing how we change the operating model. Now, of course, in a pre-competitive environment, which means instead of each of us going through a very painful learning curve, doing many mistakes all over again, try to focus and bring the knowledge together. And I would count on what is let's say, the biggest achievement is first. I think we have now published, also for the bigger industry, a very clear, de facto handbook, cookbook, how you need to change your operating model. No matter if you want to have a third-party cloud running for you and you put your network functions on top where you take a bigger role, you are an SI, you have a different, all of that is covered. And then specifically, one thing which I am particularly proud of is our cloud manifesto, cloud native manifesto, because to this date, I think we have to confess we have visions, but sometimes our visions, we are faster than the ecosystem evolution. And I would say with cloud native, we thought the industry will be much faster. We had to hard realize that it's a long way to go. So basically, okay, we said, let's pause, let's see what we have learned, and let's see how we can also help our ecosystem, our supplier system, to be more focused instead of Orange asking for A, our friends in America asking for Z, and we ask for D, to be consistent. And I think that has been amazingly achieved or appreciated by the industry.
Okay, well, and of course it's been very beneficial to the industry to have the NGMN helping to pull the industry forward and show what can and should be done. And this is, of course, a very important development. And then there's the green future networks. Before AI dominated the headlines, green issues were front and center at an event like this for a couple of years in this industry. How has the NGMN's work helped to shape energy efficiency strategies in the telecom sector? And what have been the key takeaways for you from the Green Future Networks initiative?
First of all, let me get something straight. We started in NGMN to tackle sustainability before it became a trend. And the reason is, as an operator community, we have realized that our our network infrastructure has a huge impact on the environment. So we better address not only energy efficiency, which is basically also you can count in money, but also the overall sustainable aspect. And I think we started by in a very strategic approach. We started with addressing how the telcos should tackle sustainability. So our first big publication actually was sustainability strategies overall. Then we said, okay, what are the low-hanging fruits? Which is best practice sharing on energy metric, how you measure more, how you drive more energy efficiency, and then sustainability KPIs. And remember, in our ecosystem, unfortunately, the R&D budget is quite limited. So we have to be super clear. And again, if you come with common approach and common requirements, it's much more likely that the suppliers can take them and put them as part of the product. And I think what we have learned is there's so much things we can do. And we believe, and I'm personally super convinced that actually with AI, we are not going to supercharge the efforts. Because through AI, first of all, we're going to go with energy efficiency places we have never been, quoting Star Trek. And I realized. And secondly, through AI, also the whole supply chain, the scope 1, 2, and 3 aspect in terms of how you understand, it's going to be, which would have been a manual effort of 1,000 man-years, right? Could be handled in a much more efficient way. So looking forward to the next wave, which my friend would drive, is the AI to supercharge them.
Absolutely. Well, and as you point out, I mean, Laurent, these are going to continue to be key areas, key strategic areas for the NGMN in the coming years. I mean, these are ongoing developments, aren't they?
I'm a bit surprised. I thought that we have fixed everything concerning green future networks. No? Did we? No.
I left some work for you.
Joke aside, I think we started, and I think we were, and thanks to you, Arash, and the whole NGMN family and the board members, I think we were very vocal on green future networks, and from the beginning, and thanks a lot. I think we still need to pursue this effort because we still have some areas that we need to fix. We started with metering. Metering is key. We need to provide the right data coming from our networks. We need also to be able to compare different options to deploy radio networks, because the radio is one of the most consuming part of our network. And this is also part of what we will achieve. And we will also provide guidelines on how mobile network operators can play a role also in the management of energy with the grid players. So I think we have a lot to do, but as you said, it's not just a question of energy consumption. It's also a question of the full ecosystem, how we can bring together the supply also with operators, and how we can really measure, understand scope, the different scope, including what is the most challenging is scope 3. Scope 3, and for scope 3, clearly, we need the whole industry to be fully engaged and fully committed. So that's part of what we will do. So I truly believe that we will be, again, very vocal on green future networks in the near future.
Okay. And as Arash mentioned, cloud native has been an important part of the work going, but there's still a lot of work there to be done. Can you just dig a little bit deeper into why this is not only an ongoing focus for the NGMN, but why it's so important?
So cloud native is a precondition for automation, for efficiency, but also for the delivery of very innovative services. When you think about all the monetization opportunities we have in front of us, taking into account, for instance, dynamic slicing for many B2B, B2B2C use cases, also the fact that more and more we will expose our capabilities to the ecosystem through APIs and so on. That means that underneath we need a very clear cloud-native foundation. This is really the precondition for everything. So we are also in NGMN working with other partners. Linux Foundation plays a very important role, and we have a very strong relation with Linux Foundation. CNTI, so the Cloud Native Transformation Initiative, Telecom Initiative, is key here, and we will work with Linux Foundation in order to help the industry to transform itself. It's a deep transformation. It's much more than a technical transformation. It's really also a business model transformation.
Absolutely. And Arash, if I can come back to you next, because one of the hot topics of the moment, 6G, has been a key pillar of NGMN's work while you've been the chairman, with 2025 set to be a key year for 6G planning and strategic initiatives, starting next week in South Korea. How has NGMN been preparing its members and the industry for what's coming forward with 6G?
So again, I need to clarify something. And I see here my dear friends from multiple geographies, with very few exceptions, in Asia and in the US, the truth is that we have not yet delivered fully on our 5G promise, which is 5G SA everywhere. Okay, so 5G evolution will go on. Now, there has been learnings, multiple learnings, how we launched 5G originally, and the sheer fact that in order the standardization bodies to push for 5G, they had to split the standard into multiple pieces, starting with NSA and going forward. So we decided, let's take the learnings while 5G is still evolving and collect what did we already learn and what do we want to avoid? And what can we do better? And I think in the last couple of years, it was thinking more outside of the box. Key message has been, not yet another air interface. Right. Number one. Number two is, everyone talks about software. Why can we not hardware, which you buy once, and instead of 5G, 6G, which is also how the suppliers are monetizing, just having very incremental feature sets coming into packages, maybe even 2-3 times a year. And then also appreciating that 6G, whatever it will be the first technology which is connecting non-terrestrial to terrestrial.
Right.
And it's going to be ubiquitous access. And we have been shaping that, and I think now, and by the way, one of the reasons which I'm very, very happy that, after 4 years we have a new chairman is, I think now is the time to go ahead and basically say, okay, we did a good thought process and we shaped the thinking, but now we need to lead the industry towards the standardization and realization.
Okay. And again, Laurent, this is obviously something that's going to feature prominently in the NGMN's work scheduled in the next 4 years. But what needs to happen next? How can the NGMN help the industry formulate the most appropriate 6G strategy?
So 2025 is really a critical year, because this is the beginning of standards, so pre-studies in the context of 3GPP. And we definitely need to be extremely clear on the priorities, the requirements regarding this new, very important piece of standards for the industry. In that respect, I believe that it's also an opportunity for us to reflect a little bit upon the notion of Gs. So, of course, 6G is something which is already considered as important in the industry. But as Arash explained, I think we need to decouple a bit more hardware evolution and software evolution. We live now at a time where software and AI come at fast speed, incredible speed. And we need to bring innovation in a much more continuous way, very focused on what are the features which matter for our customers, B2C and B2B. And yes, at some specific milestone, we will need some hardware upgrades. We will need also more spectrum. So we will need also to include that. But we need to reflect upon these two axes. One axis, which is really the features that we need to bring at the speed of software, and also the other axis where from time to time, yes, there will be a need to do upgrade on the hardware.
Okay. So there's clear sort of continuation and evolution of the work done under your tenure, Arash, and into your chairmanship, Laurent. But there are also new areas of focus as well. Can you just tell us a little bit about NGMN's upcoming work on network simplification and future networks?
So, two pieces of work which have started, and that will be public very soon, and which are also very linked with what we've just said. One is around simplification, framework for network simplification. We have to cope with complex networks. That means also complex network operations, because we have to deal with different technology generations. So it's becoming extremely complex. So this piece of work will provide guidance, also good practices in order to simplify as much as we can. So this is really the framework for network simplification. The other piece of work is the framework for the future communication with this evolution, this gradual evolution from 5G to 6G, and this notion of continuous innovation that we need to bring, taking into account also all the different aspects which are not just terrestrial mobile access, but also including what you said, also non-terrestrial and so on, how we can bring that in a way which is relevant and meaningful for our customers. So these two pieces of work will be very important, and they will become public very soon.
Okay, well, we certainly look forward to seeing the results of that work, really key areas for the NGMN. And finally, Arash and Laurent, any key messages that you would like to send out to the industry? Arash, maybe we can start with you.
So first of all, I had my aha moment this morning. I was here 7:55 having my coffee in our booth, and then our CEO comes to me, okay, what did you learn? What is the major thing? Here we go. No, but seriously, I think it's the first time, I believe, in humankind history where technology is evolving faster than we can adopt it. It's the first time. That was my answer. Hopefully my job is secure. Now, coming back to what Laurent said, for us, we are super innovators, we are great, but we have never been the best in speed of adaptation, right? Therefore, it's essential that with 6G or any evolution, that we fully focus on softwareization so that we can have incremental small pieces to cope. If we would need to go back and change hardware, that model doesn't work. The whole world will pass telecommunication by the speed of light. So I think my key message is let's work together. And remember, Chairman, I've been best orchestrating. It is the great work, and everything is the great work of my fellow board members and our experts, to be honest, who are working day and night on this amongst the operators. But my key message is let's embrace software, let's embrace cloud nativeness, let's embrace AI. And I like to finish with a very, very old, I'm Iranian born, and with 1,000 years of history. People now look only at the mullahs, the dark side, but let me go back. We always say when the wind of change blows, the smart man builds a windmill to make use of the wind. Right. The idiot is building a wall to protect himself. Right. I think that's a good way to end for me. Thank you so much.
Excellent, great insight. And Laurent, any key messages from you as you take on the chairmanship?
First of all, I really would like to congratulate and thank a lot my dear friends, Arash, because you provided huge and tremendous leadership over the past 4 years. And I am very glad. You know why? Because I know you will still be there. And Arash promised me to stay, and he will be also extremely active. And thanks a lot, Arash. I would like also to thank a lot Anita, because Anita was also and is still extremely efficient in driving everything which happened in NGMN, and all my fellow board members and all the contributors. I think it's really, as we said, a good time for being extremely clear in the industry. NGMN is MNO-driven organization, but it is a very open organization and we absolutely need the industry to challenge also the requirements and the message that as MNO we try to provide. So it's a dialogue. So it's a dialogue also with academia. Technology is going extremely fast, as you said. We need this collective effort in order to shape the future of the mobile industry. Thank you very much.
Okay. So thank you very much to Arash and Laurent for giving us their insights. We're going to hand over now to Luc from Vodafone, who's going to ease us into the Q&A part of today's session. Thank you very much, Luc.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Luc Ibbetson. I lead the research and development team at Vodafone Group, but I'm also very proud to lead the strategy and program committee within the NGMN board. So this is a very, very dedicated subset of the board that's responsible for overseeing really the execution of the NGMN programs, holding ourselves to account in terms of doing what we say we're going to do, and helping the board to deliver as much impact as possible from this organization. Thank you, Jess. Can I have the, are you going to do it? So I think a lot of these have been heralded by our chairman, old chairman, new chairman, Arash, Laurent, has spoken through some of these items already. So I'll go through them quite quickly. First of all, the route to disaggregation. So we are planning to publish a new cloud native assessment methodology, which is going to help provide a toolkit for operators to monitor where they are in the cloud native journey. We consider this to be a very, very important initiative, and it's one that underpins a lot of the developments that is going to be needed in the coming years. Green Future Networks, you'll have heard a great deal about as well. It's one of the flagship programs within NGMN. I think it's one that's also driving a great deal of industry engagement and recognition of the leadership that this community is able to generate. So we're going to continue this work. We're going to start doing a lot more work around energy management, around smart metering. So watch this space. We've got a very, very good roadmap for the Green Future Networks program. Now, these next two are the frameworks that Laurent mentioned. Framework for network simplification, framework for the future communications networks. Both of these are being led by, especially this has been led directly by the board, but it will be including the full NGMN community. And it's really starting to look at not just how we might specify something such as 6G in 3GPP, but how we, as operators, get the best possible outcome for customers as we go into this next era of communication. So combining satellite, fixed networks, mobile networks, and how we make sure that the innovations that our technology partners are bringing to us are able to deliver very, very good, useful value to our customers. And I think NGMN is the only place really where we come together and provide these views in such a coordinated way. Both of which, of course, feed into then the next generation of 6G, also one of our flagship programs. And I think this is going to be a very, very important time both for us as a community and for the industry at large, as we work out how to get the best possible value for customers out of the transition that's coming, and make sure this is as smooth as possible. So I think you've heard the key points from Arash and Laurent in terms of the importance of softwareization, making sure we don't start to create incentives just to rip and replace hardware for new Gs. That isn't what we're after with NGMN. We want to see how we can consume new innovative technology in a way that delivers that value to customers. So I'm going to hand over now back to Anita, who'll take us on the Q&A, I think.
Thank you, Luc. Just to quickly mention, it's not only what we presented here, what NGMN is working on. We also have a project on network automation. We do have a security competence team, and we have a very impactful project on base station antenna characteristics. So those projects, of course, are also quite important and will continue in NGMN. So having said that, I would like to invite our board members who are here to join me for the Q&A session. So first, please, Guangyi Liu from China Mobile. Exactly, we can all come on stage. Then Jérôme Birot from TELUS. Suzana Grujev from Liberty Global. Mike Irizarry from UScellular. And Taki Yu from SKT. And of course, please, Laurent and Arash and Luke, please also join us again. We can actually also go all on stage because I believe it would even fit there. And I would encourage everyone in the audience, because that's your opportunity to ask the questions you always liked to ask to the C-level of mobile network operators. Are there any questions? Who would like to start? Elisa will bring the microphone. We need a microphone. Okay. Stefan, please, yes. And please always say your name and your company before the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. So I'm Stefan Terrell from Terrell Research, and I have a question for Arash. So you said nobody in this world, on this planet, is ready to introduce a new air interface. But don't you think we're stuck, with OFDM? Because look, I mean, you have that beautiful 5G new radio anchored into LTE that goes to the VEPC. And we see actually by collecting data that the VEPC market is fine. We thought it would be declining, and in fact, it's not declining, flat. But 5G SA is not going anywhere, as you clearly said. So don't you think that in 6G it would be better to get out of OFDM? Or maybe not, totally. What if there is a new waveform that can be combined and coordinated with OFDM that can make our life better? What about that?
Yes. Let me, because you asked me, I will start and then I will handle over to our 6G lead, my good friend. Look, just to be clear, what I meant with that is, if you look, GSM, 3G, and I don't even mention YCDMA and all these other adventures, 4G, 5G, it was mainly radio interface, spectrum efficiency, or speed, and then everything else came with it. And the fact is, we built networks on top of each other, and we created a lasagna stack, as I call it. My plea was, or basically what we have defined in NGMN is 6G is much more than just an air interface. It's a complete rethinking, potentially re-architecting the entire network, maybe even starting with the core, with the service-based approach. And then obviously there's so much research going on that Luke can pick up on how, a potential also evolution or new radio could look like. But it's going to be much more than just that. Luke?
No, just to build on that. So one of the things that I'm not sure if it was mentioned earlier or not, but one of our recent publications is called the Radio Performance Assessment Framework. So this is a way of us making sure as operators that when people start to bring forward these great new proposals for things that might be able to go beyond OFDM, we're able to assess it against the benchmark that the great technology that we're deploying today and for the next few years we'll be deploying. So if we look at all of the features that have been added to 5G in order to allow it to continue to evolve and improve its performance, that sets a very, very high bar for something that would then look to potentially replace it. So we're absolutely pro-innovation. So we want to see some fantastic... I would love somebody to come up with something that could outperform OFDM. We haven't seen it yet. And in the absence of that, we want to make sure that the focus in 6G is around creating value for customers through using smooth evolution of our technology in a way that allows us to operate networks as cost effectively as possible and deliver the right service quality. That's what people care about, not what Gs sit behind the box. Colleagues, any?
That's a good question. Actually, I think it really depends on the use case and killer service. So a lot of different opinion and discussions are going now in 3GPP and many organizations, right? So, but key message from my side is 6G should be market service demand driven, not technology driven. That's the key, I think. So if we have very good service or killer service or application use cases, then we may need some new air interface for some specific use case. But yeah, it really depends on the use case. That's my opinion.
Any other additions? Then additional questions from the audience?
Thank you, Ray Lemaitre from TelecomTV. I'd like to ask everybody on the stage actually how they feel in the next 4 or 5 years that the operator community can best take advantage of the investments they have already done in 5G and will continue to do, and to get the best possible returns from that to make it worthwhile and give confidence that whatever comes next is going to be worthwhile, not only for this industry, but for the customer bases as well.
Thank you, Ray.
I love that question. I think there's opportunity to get more out of 5G. I was reflecting on your question on OFDM. I think applying artificial intelligence and machine learning to that existing air interface will get us more spectral efficiency. I think one of our biggest challenges is optimizing costs, to your point around return on investment. So fully leveraging AI, machine learning, and orchestration will help us improve our margins. And I think if we can demonstrate that, improve that, we can get more out of the existing use cases. That will build confidence with at least my CEO and our shareholders and board of directors that we should take the next step to further evolve 5G with the enhancements across the different domains, whether it's cloud, the radio network, and operations, as we work towards 6G, whatever that looks like. So I think we really need to focus on getting more out of 5G and building confidence on that pathway to the next generation.
It's a great question. And if I mention 6G in my company, I get walked out of the door, of the room, for sure. It's taboo. Our CEO will come and ask, like, when are we going to start monetizing 5G? So they definitely don't want to hear about 6G is coming. We need to get ready. And like my colleague was saying, like Mike was saying, AI did not exist when 5G specs were created. So just think of the potential of what we can embrace with these new capabilities today with our existing networks. Private wireless network was supposed to be the killer use case. Well, in Canada, where 80% of the population lives within 100 kilometers of the US border, the geopolitics starts playing a key factor. So like investment is going to be key to monetize what we already have. And if you think about the amount of private wireless network that you really need, when you double click on it, half the time customers need better coverage. All right. And with 5G, you have new technologies like slicing that can actually provide private wireless network-like capabilities. So why not use this and monetize and sweat all those assets, lean on new technologies that are coming fast and furious, AI, machine learning, to manage our cost and get a better return on investment.
Thank you. I think also agree it's maybe the top one question I think asked by the management peoples. From my perspective, I think first, of course, we need to work together, especially the operator community work together to cultivate the new device, new applications. That's the first one, especially for the consumer markets. I think that's the most important for all the operators. Second one is we try to cultivate the new products, new form factor of the products for the network to serve the very diverse, very differentiated vertical use cases. That will be the potential for the mobile operators to grow. A third one, of course, I think it's we also need to look forward. We have learned a lot from the practice of 5G, how we can just make it better for example, just like Arash has mentioned, how can we just for future, can we orchestrate the network, make it be more easy to monetize the network's capabilities, like open API, etc. By this way, we think we can achieve what we really hope.
I think, Ray, you framed it extremely well, because that is exactly what we need to do. We're at such an early stage of deploying the full range of 5G capabilities, and so when we look at the excitement that the prospects of people trying to evolve G yet again is creating in terms of people bringing new service ideas, new device types, new ideas that could lead to good commercial outcomes. My challenge back to them always is, why don't we do this on 5G? We can do this on 5G. We can evolve 5G way beyond where we are today. So I think it's a great question, and it's one that I'm confident that if we continue to build on what we started, we're going to be able to deliver some good outcomes. The last thing we need, though, is to be creating the perception that we're going to about to rip and replace everything and start again. That's not credible, and it's not what we as an association are advising our technology partners to be considering.
Okay. I think you asked some of the question what we can do today. So with the API and the open gateway and the cloudification and softwareization, we are moving a little bit towards more monetizing the network. But one of the topics that we picked up for is the network simplification, and it doesn't start with network simplification in 6G or whatever G. It starts actually how can we try to deploy our networks more easily, more agile, in order to focus more on the services and the broader community than just fixing whatever G we have in the network. So it's really and working together with the whole ecosystem to move it towards to implement the use cases that are there.
I think it's always good to reflect upon what will happen in the next 5 years. And I think your question is really crucial here. I believe what we will experience as an industry with AI will be fantastic. And it will transform completely the way we build and operate networks. It's very difficult to think about it just looking at what we need to do in the coming months. But if you think of it in the next few years, that will completely change the way we operate networks. That's the first point. Second point is it's not just about efficiency. It's really about what kind of value we can create, and we don't need to wait for 6G for that. It's really about also what kind of new workloads we can support as a telco platform, as a network platform. And we need to transform ourselves into a network platform. And we cannot do that alone, each one of us. It has to be organized. It has to be united. Of course, we need to obey with the competition laws and so on, but we need to work together in order to make that happen. And AI for network will support network for AI.
Thank you. Are there more questions from the audience? No? Then I would like to ask our board members. So we talked about that the beyond 5G development, that we need to do it really value-driven. We talked about operational efficiencies. We had already in the first 30 minutes quite a lot of topics with regards to sustainability and also disaggregation. So my question to our board members is, are there any specific areas, in addition to what we already discussed, when it comes to disaggregation, your experiences in moving to cloud-native networks, what you would like to also convey as a message to the industry? So, again, Jérôme, maybe?
Few things. The cloud native workload are key. Like you, Arash mentioned it. Like it's the key, and Laurent mentioned it as well. The key for automating our networks. The market is hyper competitive. The industry is shrinking. How do we sweat those assets? Softwareizing our network, disaggregating our network, driving a better economy of scales across the board. Automation, automation, automation. And with that, those foundational items, we won't be able to stay competitive in this industry that continues to demand more for less. So for us, driving true automation end to end, including the testing, including the workloads, softwareizing everything is our key priority for the next foreseeable future.
It's a great question, Anita. I think we often get focused on the technology. As we transition, the thing that I believe we've learned is we have to stay aligned. We have to stay aligned as a vendor community, as a carrier community, and that's one of the things that Next Generation Mobile Networks does so well. It brings the vendors together, the carriers, to force us to consider the big picture of an ecosystem. And when we do that and stay focused on it, I think we can accomplish a number of very important things. One is sustainability, having a better impact on the ecology and the climate. Number two is improving the operational efficiencies and spectral efficiency. When I look at one of our key use cases, and Jérôme mentioned it, is the rapidly growing usage from fixed wireless access. We have to figure out a way to lower the cost to deliver those bits and at the same time improve the spectral efficiency because in some countries, auctions haven't even started yet for the next capacity layer of the network. And then I would say the most important thing is making sure we're satisfying our customers. At the end of the day, they pay the bills, which ultimately go into the investments. And if we can stay aligned as an ecosystem, I think we can accomplish all of those things. And it's easy to lose sight of that when you get enamored by all the cool and exciting technology. So let's stay focused on collaborating.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. I think it's Anita asked us a very good question, especially I think when we have so many years development on the dedicated hardware system. So it's really, from 5G, I think it's give us a chance to rethink it and see how can we just make a network to be more flexible, to be more elastic and agile for new features and especially new services. For the cloud native, I think it means we can share the hardware between the communication and the new services like the computing, like the AI. It can help us to save the cost of the deployment. Second, I think cloud native means we can orchestrate the network functions very flexibly and address the very diverse, very differentiated use cases, especially for the verticals. I think that's what it will provide us new solutions, which can provide us the personalized, customized hardware and software. By this way, we can minimize the cost of such kind of deployment for vertical use cases, which really will fulfill the gap between what our current solution and the cloud solutions. I think that's my answer.
Just a quick comment for that. Actually, well, cloudification and disaggregation, from technology perspective, is very good, very nice. But operation in real world is totally different story. Very difficult to operate it. So I want to emphasize the importance of operation model in real world. It is well different situation, a different environment in country in every operator. So we need to make well-designed operation model for cloud and disaggregation. Yeah, that's the comment.
Thank you, Taki. Other comments? Then our other big topic, sustainability. So we talked about energy efficiency, but also the requirements related to metering. We need to, of course, also consider any impact of disaggregated networks. So what is your opinion with regards to the priorities? Maybe Laurent? Or
I think one of the major challenges we have in front of us is not only to look at scope 2, but really to consider scope 3 and to address it in a way where we can do our job, which is to report our progress. And today it's still a bit challenging when we have to report. And you know that when we do our financial reporting now, all of us, most of the time, we also need to report our CO2 footprint obligations. And we cannot do that without our vendor partners. They are part of our supply chain. They are part of our scope 3. So how can we do that in a way which is consistent, which is measurable, which is not greenwashing, but which is really addressing what needs to be done in order to help our planet?
So I think I'm building on top. So first of all is walk the talk, right? We at DT started already, and because we have a joint with Orange, we have a joint procurement company. We started already a couple of years ago to have 20% of the whole sourcing scoring dedicated to sustainability. And this will put an extra push on the suppliers. But I like to come back and look future. I think with AI, everyone looks at many other things, but as I mentioned earlier on, with AI, we will supercharge our efforts on sustainability, understanding the supply chain suppliers, understanding the chains, making sure that we can make something out of the data, both for decision making and steering. And last but not least, I do believe that there will be always the trade-off, and that's, I mean, by the way, that's why we are paid capacity, so cost capacity, but also let's not forget the energy consumption with it. And as we move forward, I hear a lot, AI run, AI run. You know, AI run means 8 times, up to 8 times energy cost. So, I mean, there's a fuss, but the reality is we need to be super conscious on what are we trying to do. Do we need really GPUs, or can we not do most of the things with CPUs, which is our conviction? We can. We don't need GPUs. And therefore also make the right architectural choices. One thing is saving on what you have. Another thing is having sustainability in your DNA, how you design certain things, right? And I think there's a way to go.
And I would fully endorse the comments from my two illustrious colleagues. But I would just add as well that it's one of the reasons why when we look towards the way people might be trying to frame the 6G piece, and we look at individual technologies that in themselves might showing incremental energy benefits, we are advocating a much more holistic approach so we can look at the overall gains or losses as we start to introduce technologies that might be more efficient on a radio layer but require huge massive MIMO panels that consume many watts of energy. So we're trying to make sure that we keep ourselves honest. One of the frameworks that we produce in NGMN allows us a way of measuring the impacts of individual technology innovations in a much more holistic way. And I think that this is something that isn't generally followed within the way that standards happen to be built, because they're developed in different working groups in a very, very siloed manner. We don't operate our networks in this way. We see the energy bill at the end of the month, and we need to make sure that as we go through to the next generation, we don't lose sight of this. But very much support the previous comments as well.
Maybe from different operators, we are in different stage of the network development. So from my perspective, I just see we also need to pay attention to the new technology trend, for example, the AI. So how SAT will make very fast in commercial, I think, a commercial launch. So it's also an opportunity for the mobile operators. Can we create some new opportunity, some new business from such kind of application, such kind of deployment? So I also see, especially I think in 2 days before, I think GSMA has set up a community on the network of AI. So we also see, we need to also consider how we just help us to cultivate some new service, new application for us. Even besides what we are doing, try to control the cost of the network. I think that's also very important. We need to pay attention to it.
Thank you, Guangyi.
Let me add more about AI. So, a purpose of AI is to improve reliability and operational efficiency and performance of network. And also we need some monetization. So there are two directions, AI for network and network for AI. So we both of direction, super important for us. So actually, in the first part, so we can reduce energy consumption or improve the performance and reduce the operational cost, right? And the second part, we can integrate all kinds of assets that we have with AI service. It's more proactive layer of network for AI service. For example, real-time AI service, interactive AI service. We can run AI computing at the edge, or we can combine network API with real-time AI service, for example. So both of direction are important, I think.
Thank you, Taki. Are there any other questions from the audience? That's the last opportunity for questions. No? Then, if there are no other comments from our board members, then I would like to thank everyone from our board members on stage. I would also like to inform you, big applause, that we have more of our board members here in the audience, and also some of our academia and vendor members, and of course the entire NGMN team. So we have Elisa, Christina, Spaj, and Amre. Thank you a lot to the organization, and last but absolutely not least, to Jess from Vodafone, who was really very supportive with her team and colleagues, and Luke, to make this happen. And if you are not yet part of NGMN, but you are in the mobile telecommunication ecosystem, then I invite you to join us, because collaboration is as important as it was never. So we really, at this moment in time, we need to collaborate. We need to move together the industry into the right direction to create additional value to our customers. Thank you.